Hi there, my name's Sarah Wolf, Head Teacher of AVID. This is a presentation to support Year 7 parents, carers and family who may be thinking of applying for the Year 8 AVID class in 2022. So what is AVID? AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination, and the goal of the program is right there in the name. We are aiming to advance all students by kind of harnessing their individual determination to succeed in a rigorous curriculum. So, AVID Australia's mission statement is to close the achievement gap by preparing all students for tertiary readiness and success in a global society. AVID Australia aims to ensure that all students will succeed in a rigorous curriculum and that they'll increase their opportunities for enrolment in tertiary education, such as TAFE, university, apprenticeships, and other, and they'll become educated and responsible participants and leaders in a democratic society. Bit of background to AVID. So it's been going for quite a long time, 30 years plus, and it was started in America by a teacher to find a solution to the academic underachievement she saw in her classes. Since its inception, AVID has understood the barriers of privilege and postcode. And by nurturing the academic potential of each individual student, AVID aims to equip those students with the tools, the mindset, and the skills they need to bridge that divide. In AVID, we understand that lots of students or every student has potential to achieve, but they may just not have those strategies to get there. And that is what AVID is all about, teaching those strategies for learning, which allows students to kind of access any dream that they desire. AVID in Australia is growing all the time. There's over 70 plus teaching sites, 50,000 students are enrolled in the program. And while we have what's called kind of the AVID elective model where we have select classes, AVID in our school is growing all the time. And we intend over the years to become an AVID site where all teachers and all students are delivering this methodology. So what does AVID do? It develops readers and writers, it develops deep content knowledge, it teaches content specific strategies for reading, writing, thinking, and speaking. It helps to develop habits and skills and behaviors. It provides intensive support and creates a really kind of positive peer group where students are in a class with like minded students who want to do well or want to do better, who are kind of want to be at school and obviously have those dreams that stretch beyond school. So, who is the avid student? I often use this analogy because it helps both kind of parents, carers, and students to kind of understand. So, Superman is that natural student. They just cruise through school, they're mostly good at everything. And so, Superman is this kind of natural person who just really doesn't need any special help or toys, and they seem to just get through schooling with no issue at all. Batman, which is more like the avid student, is this extremely capable student, someone who has just as much power and just as kind of much superhero strength as Superman. However, they may need some of these gadgets to help them out to actually get to that point. So Alfred the butler kind of becomes the avid teacher. Those special tools and gadgets that Batman has become the avid classroom and the we call strategies. And Robin, that kind of offsider, are the avid tutors and the peers. So why avid? 21st century teachers recognise that we're preparing for our students to work in jobs that have not yet been invented. And 21st century learning is focused around skills and not content. And that's what AVID is all about. It's actually recognising that we have all this content to teach, but however, if students don't have the skills necessary to access it, to process it, and to write about it, then they're actually being locked out. And so, what AVID tries to do is teach those skills and what we say is a learning toolkit, a toolkit of strategies that they can use to access any complex information that comes their way, both in school or out of school, at TAFE, in the workplace and university and beyond. So, with the abolishment of the school certificate some years ago, and obviously the changes to the school leaving age, the HSC and TAFE have really become the new minimum standard. So, if the HSC is the new minimum standard, then we really need to be pushing students to move beyond that so that they can actually function in a kind of competitive world for jobs and for placements and things like that. So there is a focus on university readiness in AVID. Obviously, not just university, it can be TAFE or any kind of college, that tertiary or third level study. But there's a recognition that that HSC, which is a very hard thing to kind of conquer as it is that new minimum standard. And we need to be kind of building the aspirations in our kids to move far beyond that. So why university readiness? Not every student in AVID or in our schools actually needs to pursue higher education. However, we're trying to basically allow them to make that choice for themselves. What sadly tends to happen is students have, big dreams. They want to become a doctor or a lawyer, these kind of, these jobs that require huge ATARs and huge amounts of study. And by the time that they're kind of ready to make that decision, say in year 11 or 12, they don't have the tools to compete on that state level, competing with those kids who've kind of been training for this, since year 7, who may be in a kind of private school situation with private tutors and all that extra help. And again, those natural kind of Superman students who just seem to cruise through school. So we don't want our kids to be locked out. We want them to be able to make a choice, and a choice that's based on what they actually want. And so we want to keep those doors open for them. We want university and TAFE and kind of tertiary education to be for them to be able to access that. And that's what AVID is trying to do. So, how AVID works, it accelerates those underachieving students who have potential into more rigorous courses. It teaches academic and social skills, not necessarily targeted in other classes due to the constraints of a curriculum. It also provides intensive one-on-one support with in-class tutors and these strong student and teacher relationships. I'll talk more in a moment about the tutorial process, but in essence, the AVID student has a range of people to support them, not just their teachers, but also kind of university educated tutors to support them with all of their subjects. In AVID, it really creates this positive peer group, and this has been the message coming back from our students and parents, that it's so great to have their students in a class with like-minded kids, with like-minded families as well, who all share that same vision for their students, who want them, to do the very best they can. It also develops a sense of hope and personal achievement. And again, we're pushing that individual determination that all students can achieve any goal they want with that grit, with that determination to do better and be better. So the AVID student profile has academic potential. Usually they're achieving at a sound level, so kind of C range, but there may be some Bs and As in there. There even may be some Ds and Es in there, depending on the kind of range of subjects. They have that university or tertiary potential with support. And honestly, for me, this being my 4th year teaching it, the biggest thing is to have desire and determination. So if the marks are low, but there is that determination and that grit to want to do better, that for me is the most important thing. And any teacher in our school will tell you that we can help take that kind of D kid up to an A, when they have the same amount of determination and desire that we do. We hope that they have positive behaviour and attendance records, or at least the desire to change and to do better. And they may be the first in their family to attend tertiary education. And so AVID is trying to kind of dispel all of that fear that sometimes exists around university. If someone hasn't paved that path before you in your family or in your close network, that can be incredibly daunting. I'll talk more later about the excursions and the ways that we try to make that kind of more comfortable for students, but this is just looking at the profile for now. So AVID at GTHS in 2022. As part of our Gifted and Talented program, our Year 6 into 7, we now start our 7G classes as an AVID class. Basically, we also run that with our 8G classes, and so 7G this year are AVID, and they'll head into 8G AVID next year. We will, however, make the 8A class for 2022 based on the applications, which is you guys, of your students. So there will be 4 periods of cycle in 7G, 5 periods of cycle in Year 8, 4 periods of cycle in the 9 and 10 classes. In Year 7 and 8, all students will be together in all of their classes. And in 9 and 10, students will be mixed throughout the Strive classes based on their choices. So AVID strategies will be taught in English, Maths, Science, HISI, PDHPE, and Visual Arts. And again, the biggest change will be that students will have fortnightly timetabled tutoring sessions with Newcastle University tutors. They'll learn from a range of career-based guest speakers, and they'll have lots of excursions to universities. Obviously, COVID pending. We managed to get a few in this year before COVID shut us down again. However, we have high hopes for 2022. They'll also be required to use their student planner every day and to also keep a binder, and I'll speak about that more in a moment. So all AVID students will have an extra class, and this is called AVID Strategies. This class will teach students strategies for learning, as I spoke about. So, this will help them to learn and succeed in all of their other classes. Basically, what we've recognized is that we take one period of the core subject, so English, Maths, Science, PDHPE, and HISI, and those periods, those 5 periods, are given to the AVID Strategies elective. Now, in that elective, students are taught how to learn. And what our teachers and students have realized is that by taking those 5 periods away from those content area classes, students actually end up succeeding more because, again, they're being taught the strategies to access that content. So AVID sits as a separate class that actually helps students to achieve and succeed in all other classes. And we spend a lot of time honing in on where specifically students are struggling in English or maths or science and supporting them with the tutors and that process to actually get them the marks that they want or at least to improve. So AVID strategies that we focus on, and you can see there, WICOR is at the core of AVID. WICOR is also a school-wide strategy at GTHS, and again, it's become part of our Glendale way, and that all teachers, regardless if they're AVID or not, are kind of pushing these strategies. So WICOR stands for Writing, Inquiry, Collaboration, Organisation, and Reading. And I'll just go through kind of what this looks like. So the first thing is writing, and you may have seen your student already coming home taking Cornell notes. Cornell notes are an AVID strategy that we at Glendale have pushed as a school-wide strategy for good note taking. As you can see on the bottom left of the green poster, other kind of writing tools that we support is around kind of learning logs, writing about learning, process writing. We look at kind of scaffolding writing, so scaffolding things down to sentence types or text types, to how to write a paragraph. And again, really honing in and supporting the skills to be a better writer, not just asking students to write, but supporting them to write well in a range of different subjects and KLAs. The I in WICOR stands for inquiry. And again, the biggest change in inquiry around AVID is the tutorial process. So once a fortnight, students will engage in a TRF, which is called a tutorial request form. They will pose a point of confusion or POC from any one of their content area classes. So this could be an assessment task question in English. It could be a maths problem. It can be very specific or very broad. And they bring that point of confusion to tutorials. They will sit in a group of between 5 and 7 students, and they'll get one-on-one intensive support from a university tutor. Many of our tutors are ex-Glendale High students who are currently studying at university to become teachers, and so it's great to see those kids coming back, or the adults now, coming back and helping our kids to do better. What we have also found because of the new Strive initiative, where students have a range of classes, is that our Year 9 and 10 AVID kids, or who have chosen, to pick AVID even though they didn't have to, are doing it because it really helps them to stay on top of all of their study and to really hone in on those problems that they're having in specific classes. The other thing that we try to do in AVID is actually teaching kids how to ask questions. We're constantly asking students questions, but actually teaching them the process of inquiry, how to ask good questions, how to answer good questions. So again, really honing down on the skill or the micro skill of inquiry. The other core component of AVID is collaboration. And we as teachers recognise that the less that we can kind of talk and the less that we're involved in their learning sometimes, the better it is for them. And I'll often say to kids, the moment that I don't need to do anything, the moment that I can put down a complex text or a difficult problem in front of you, and you can use collaboration or at least use independent thought to kind of critically think about it, is the moment I've done my job. So we will get kids, again, teaching the skill of collaboration, getting them to work together to solve problems, making them own their learning as well. So it's not just the teacher leading that learning, but that learning becomes intrinsic and it's in those students who want to do better and to control their learning. And what we know is that in stage 6 and beyond, so year 11 and 12 and beyond, that is essential. And the kids who have that independent kind of collaborative kind of nature about them end up with the best results. The other big part of this is organisation, and whether your child is in AVID or not, you would have seen them come home with this planner. So the planner originated in AVID, and our students have had it from the beginning. And this year, our principal was lovely enough to pay for a planner for every student in the school because we want to push organisation as a school-wide strategy. The other big part of AVID is around the binder, and students will have their binders marked by their AVID teacher once every 3 weeks. Now, what that involves is that their teacher will actually mark every single book. Will look at, are they doing their revisions in their Cornell notes? Are they doing their summaries? Is their homework done? Have they got an organizational plan? We recognize that we ask kids to be organized, but we don't often teach them how to be organized. And AVID really breaks that down. So we support them with goal setting. We support them to, again, just put down their homework and when they have things due to break down assessment tasks, etc. The R in WICOR again is around reading. Critical reading is again a kind of school-wide strategy at Glendale that we really hone in on in the AVID electives. We want kids to be able to read complex text on their own, and that can be in English, textbooks perhaps in science or HISI. We want them to know that whatever information comes at them, that they have this toolkit of strategies to access it and to comprehend it. So we work through this critical reading process. We help them with vocabulary building. We help them with these kind of deep reading strategies and note-taking strategies to ensure that they've actually comprehended what they're doing. The other parts of AVID that we focus on, as I said before, is goal setting. We work on study tips and tricks, how to study. We work on mnemonics and how to kind of memorize, large chunks of information. So all the things that students actually need to do to be successful at high school, we actually break down and explicitly teach. So those 5 periods in a cycle that are taken off the core, students find extreme value in them because they're actually getting kind of the key to unlock that content in their other classes. What we have found has been a really exciting and unexpected kind of byproduct of AVID is that it actually has instilled leadership. This is an old photo when the current year 12s are in year 10, but we had, out of the first class that we had of 16, as you can see there, 5 of them went for leadership roles. And Abby Bramley, our school captain, and many of the people standing in this photo are now actually school leaders in year 12. This, again, wasn't an intention. But it has shown the power of that collaboration and that leadership that we're instilling in these kids, that they actually feel confident enough, who had been previously, quite shy, to go for these school leadership positions. The other thing we do in AVID, as I said, is taking kids on excursions. We've got Sydney Uni, University of Technology, Newcastle University, and Macquarie University. COVID pending, this will continue. And again, this just supports students to kind of not be as afraid of what university has to offer. While these students are out on these excursions, they're not just getting a university tour and becoming kind of more familiar with how to get into uni, but they're also engaging in some kind of projects, as you can see here, getting a little taste of what university has to offer. We also often get our guest speakers in at our school to talk to students as well about how that particular person got into their job and what their job entails. So enough from me for a while. I'm just going to hand you over to have a listen to some testimonials by an AVID parent and some of our AVID students, because I feel really hearing it from them is probably the most important thing.
I have seen an abundance of changes in my child. My child, who was very shy, wouldn't ask questions in class, would give up if she found something hard without even trying, has gone from that child to now having study notes, having an organisation chart in her room of when she needs to study, what she should be doing, what questions she should ask, is forthcoming with asking teachers for information, submitting assignments and things before it's due to get some feedback, so what she can do better on. Just the organisation and confidence has been great.
I'm in my 2nd year of AVID.
Yeah, okay. What is AVID to you?
AVID to me is a better way of learning. It's helped me study, and I actually want to come to school other than trying to avoid it, and it's just helped me a lot.
How is AVID different from your mainstream Year 7 class?
Year 7, I didn't feel like the teachers had overall control on the students, and then it's like the students actually chose to come into this class. They actually want to be in here for the same reason as I do, and everyone wants to learn, so it's good.
How has it benefited?
Like I said, I want to come to school and I study better. I go over my notes and then I actually come into class knowing what we're doing, and I put my hands up for answers and I'm more confident in myself and stuff.
How has AVID changed the way you learn?
AVID has changed the way I learn in so many different ways, from the way I take notes to the way I revise and study. And being an elite athlete in the sports swimming and having to catch up so many lessons due to being away, AVID has contributed by an incredible amount, with assisting on catching up and being on top of everything. And this is shown as I have been placed in all top classes this year.
The tutorial process has helped my learning by just being like a safety net. So when I don't understand any concepts in any of my classes, I'll just be able to prepare myself for the tutorials, do my TRF, write it all out, make sure I understand where I'm stuck in the concepts, and then just have a collaboration with my group and a discussion and work out my answers and figure out what I'm going wrong.
How do corner notes help you study and learn better?
The corner notes have been able to set out all my work, so I have all of my notes that I've been taken in class, a overall essential question that's been posed at the start of the lesson. Going home, it's easy to just read over the notes, figure out questions that will help me and prompt me to remember my notes from that lesson, and then going back even later and then writing out a summary answering the EQ that I was posed at the very start of the lesson that I was writing notes for. It's all been able to help me, and it's all been able to memorize my notes and make sure that I'm ready for upcoming tests.
Would you recommend AVID and why?
I would recommend AVID. I volunteered to be in this program. I have encouraged everyone, my brother even as well, to participate in this. It's helped me, it's deepened my understanding, and it's taken more of my energy and time into furthering my knowledge and furthering my schoolwork and making sure that I'm prepared for not only university, which I'm going to go through, but also prepare for my job, work, life, and all.
Okay, so how to apply for AVID. Over the next few weeks, you'll receive information in the mail about applying for AVID for 2022. If you are interested in applying, your child can collect an AVID application form from the Student Services Office or from myself, Miss Wolf, in the English staff room. The application form has also been made available electronically on the school website in PDF, which you can either complete electronically or print off and have your child bring into school to get their teacher recommendation. If you want to do the entire thing electronically, you could also send that nominated teacher an email to get their electronic teacher recommendation. If you have any further questions about AVID, please don't hesitate to contact me by the school phone or my email, which is listed down the bottom there. We are really looking forward to starting the recruitment process for the 2022 8 AVID class, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thanks everyone for listening. Bye-bye.